some shine. They will give you some advice about your life, but they only drink the cloudy beers that fucking shine. Cause it's the trouble boys, TBC, yeah, it's the trouble boys, TBC, yeah, it's the trouble boys, TBC.
Hello everybody, welcome back to this week's TBC pod. On today's episode, we are welcoming back everybody's favourite cycle breaker, which is Robyn Tate. How is it going today, Robyn?
Hi guys, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I'm having a really good day, and started off with a spa day with my friend, and just been out for a run. So excuse me if I'm a little bit on the shiny side, but yeah, it's like to catch up with you guys again, and just carry on the conversation, I guess, from last time, because we ran over quite a lot, didn't we? We kind of couldn't really manage to wrap it up in time. We had so much to talk about. So yeah, it'll be good to see where it goes today.
Yeah, nice. I actually can't remember how long it was last time. Was it like about an hour and a half or something like that?
It was something like that.
I remember, because we were saying literally before you joined the call, we're saying it's like it's about 5 months ago, wasn't it, when we last spoke? But it feels like it feels longer. Like I feel like we've known you for like ages. It's only 5 months.
Yeah, it is nice now. We've built that bit of a rapport, I guess, and also having worked with Ryan, separately. It feels like kind of catching up with mates now, which is nice.
No, definitely. I did that one session with you, and it just I absolutely shit myself. But no, the session I did with you was amazing.
Not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
No, it is. I thought it was really, really good. Like we were saying a bit before, though, it's that getting that time in it, with it being because we're doing them quite late and stuff. But yeah, we can kick off by talking about that a little bit if you want. I know Ryan did a bit of documenting on the pod, and then I forgot you actually did another pod, didn't you, when I weren't here, where you interviewed Ryan. But how's that been going, that particular session that you've been doing? Have you had any more interest, or have you kicked it off yet, or anything like that?
I'm still kind of in the early stages of it, I guess. So yeah, I have been working with people with root cause therapy, and having some of my own sessions as well, because I'm always working on my own personal development at the same time, and trying to kind of hit through those ceilings with my own healing and growth journey. So it's really just the beginning of this, though, because I believe in it so much. And so really the hardest part is just getting the message out there and trying to help people to see that, that this can help with so many issues that people see on the surface. They don't realise that it's, the clue's in the name, root cause therapy. So you look at so many issues for what they are, depression, anxiety, some of the things we're going to talk about, addiction, I think a lot of people without really understanding that there is so much more to that than really just what it is, and then just looking at it at face value. So that's really where my job lies now, is trying to help people to see that there is something, more that can be done about those kind of issues. And, it's not necessarily I think a lot of people blame themselves, or, there's that kind of attitude that people are like that, or perhaps selfish, or they've got themselves into that situation. But actually, they're not to blame. They're just victim of their own circumstances, and doing this real deep inner work is this is really new stuff that we're looking at, which is just literally being more widespread now. So part of my job is just going to be to try and spread that word as far and as wide as possible, and so that I can hopefully help as many people as I can with it going forward. Actually, I did want to mention that when my certification came through, I got to read your feedback, Ryan, which was really nice, actually. a little teardrop.
No way, I forgot what I said. What did I say? Was it nice?
Yeah, it was lovely. It was just like, yeah, it was, I mean, it was a bit of, ego boost. So, but yeah, it was just, basically what you've already said, really, which is, how much it's helped you, and the fact that, working with me in particular was important to you after, we kind of already made that connection. So, it was really sweet. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's helped me to no end. Like after doing that with you and being like so invested in it with you, I've just been on like cloud nine ever since. Like my mind is like so quiet. Like like intrusive thoughts and random thoughts just don't pop into my head anymore. It's like do you know about like if I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm worthy or shit like that. Like it's not in my head at this moment. It could come back and all that stuff. I'm not saying I'm fucking cured or whatever, but I am becoming more and more the observer every single day of my life. It's amazing.
That's the most powerful thing, isn't it? Having that different perspective, that different level of awareness. I think, combined with the RCT. I was the same. When I went through the first lot of RCT sessions myself, it's like, it's hard to. It's like walking on air, isn't it? And the days kind of following, because you've exercised so much rubbish from your body that's just been stored there for so long, and it's like breath of fresh air. So, and just obviously it helps you to see, perhaps why you struggle with certain things, and it helps you to get answers that perhaps you've been looking for, and just have that peace of mind, I think, and sense of calm. Like I remember feeling quite calm afterwards initially, and kind of taking that forward with you just in everyday life. And I think I found myself like in situations where I might normally feel a little bit of anxiety, and it just wasn't there anymore. So again, as you say, it's an ongoing journey. You never get to that point where you're like, I'm healed. but I mean, this is as good as it gets in my mind, or what my experience of it and what I found anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely helped me like analyse situations that I sort of experienced in the past. Like looking through it like I'm a stranger at it and stuff. And it's like probably the reason that like one gets angry is because you probably feel weak, and then what happens when you get angry? You feel strong, you feel powerful, and it's like you're backed into a corner and stuff like that. And that's the defense mechanism to make yourself feel strong and stuff like that. And that's what I've been like looking at it as. Like I was getting attacked and things like that, and I didn't like it because I was so my self-esteem was so low anyway. And then for it to be like further attacked, I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna get angry and show, like pretend it was like a facade that I was this strong like force of nature or whatever, and I wasn't. I was a fucking gnat, and I could be flipped over the edge at any point. So no, it's massively helped me understand my thought patterns of my like previous self. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I look at it and I'm like, that just isn't me now. It's not me. Like that person sort of like unmanifested itself out of my being.
Yeah, amazing. Having that, I think, self-control over your own emotions and reactions, I think, just is invaluable, really. Not letting anybody else control you, as because you dealt with all your stuff and you're in a good place with it. You know how to regulate yourself. You know what your triggers are, and so when you are faced with triggering situations, you're just present in the moment. You can feel it happening, and you're like, I've done this work on my emotions, and I know how to deal with this situation, and that is a sign of real strength, I think.
I can still wind him up
easily.
No, I was trying to wind him up. I think it was yesterday on WhatsApp one, and he just sent me back an the fishing emoji where someone's trying to fish someone, trying to catch him as bait. So he seemed right through me.
That's allowed.
No, we always want each other.
Banter, right? Banter.
Yeah, banter.
We love the banter, don't we, pal?
You do.
I was actually going to say it's not off topic because it's still related with the fact it's about emotions, but it is a bit off topic. Have you seen the new film Inside Out 2?
No, I want to see it though. I was going to watch it the other day, but I haven't.
I could imagine it being right up your street in terms of like, have you seen the first one?
No.
That was a fucking flop of a conversation starter.
I heard all the hype about Inside Out 2 and I was like, well, I've got to watch it. But
it's honestly...
Sorry to disappoint you.
No, I think you should definitely watch it. I reckon your kids would love it as well if they're around that age, because I watched it with our eldest, who's 7, and like she loved it. And she loved the first one too, but it's obviously all about the emotions like inside a kid. And I think the first film, it's like 4 or 5 basic emotions like anger, sadness, joy, and stuff like that. And basically, in number 2, the little girl becomes a teenager and goes to school, and then she develops things like embarrassment and anxiety and all stuff like that. But it's so clever the way they do it. Have you seen it yet?
I've not seen Inside Out 2, but I've seen Inside Out 1, and I understand the concepts and things like that.
It's honestly so good, like, because basically anxiety takes over and basically hides all the other emotions away, and then the kid starts doing loads of like erratic shit because she's got anxiety, and I think she has like an anxiety attack and stuff like that, and the other emotions are trying to get back out. And I think Joy says like a really like sad part which like hit me anyway as an adult, and she said I guess the older you get, you just don't really like get the basic joy of certain things in life. And it's like, because obviously like kids just get joy out of anything, don't they? Like I can give the kids like a potato and they'll play with it for like 10 minutes and like think it's the best thing in the world. But yeah, I thought one of you might have seen it anyway. just out there on their own.
It sounds good though. I think it's great that they're putting films out there like this now though. That I think it's probably, really good for the parents to educating a lot of adults as well around how, what their kids might be going through that perhaps they didn't 100%. Have that same support when they were kids. So
100%. Like, it's just mad how much the whole thing has evolved, like you said, in terms of like educating and shit like that. Because when we was kids, like the shit we used to watch, it was like fucking Tom and Jerry smacking the shit out of each other with hammers, and like the parents would have cigars in their mouths and beer and shit like that. Like, it's mad.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that actually does lead me into something actually relevant this time. Has there been any more kind of not development, but any more conversations with your dad around, because remember last time we spoke, you said that you'd mentioned certain things about like comments and stuff that he'd made when you was younger or stuff like that about the generational traumas and stuff like that. But I think you said that he didn't really get it, or he kind of just didn't really acknowledge it too much. Has there been any more conversations since or anything? Or?
It's been, the dynamic between my dad and I has changed quite a bit over the last few years with, I think I spoke a little bit before, I might have done about the fact that we were living together. So as you know, I had a quite a dysfunctional childhood with my dad. And then I kind of, I guess, like a lot of people do, you grow up and it's kind of, the excitement of going out into the world and doing your own thing, kind of getting your own freedom, which I did. I'd moved out by the age of 20. I was living my own life and kind of moving on. And it seemed like I could just forget about that and bury all that, really, and just kind of, I was just swept along, with the momentum of life. And so when we weren't living together, our relationship improved a lot. So, we would get on okay. It was only really when, don't get me wrong, there was actually a period where I had a big conversation with him when I had a little bit of I'm going to say midlife crisis, but there was a kind of a patch where I knew I had to talk to him about some of that stuff, and we did that, and we covered a lot, and that was good. That was a good conversation. But there was obviously, despite the fact we had that conversation, it didn't change the fact that I was still dealing with a lot of the stuff, the fallout of my upbringing. So there were still issues there. And they didn't really come into light until I moved back in with my dad, which was, a couple of years ago now. And just being in that situation again where we're all under one roof with my kids there as well, and, lots of triggering situations going on. It just brought out all of that, kind of his worst side and probably my worst side at times. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm perfect. That, we both have our faults. But it's tricky because I guess, things were said, and it's, not always an easy one to navigate.
No, it's not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. So when it comes to what I'm doing now, my dad is, he's not really 100% on board. But I think that's because really it's a lack of kind of an understanding, and really part of that is down to me and the fact that I haven't ever really just sat down with him and told him exactly what it is I'm doing. Sorry, I didn't really finish that story, but I've moved out the house again now, and things have changed again a lot. So now when I see my dad, I see this gentle giant, which is what so many people do see, and they look at my dad and say, oh, this good old Tone, he's such a he's so because he has got that tendency to people please, because he had a difficult upbringing himself. His dad used to hit him when he was a little boy, and so I can see that playing out now in his everyday life and in his relationship with my mum. But it's one thing, being able to look from my perspective and see that, and then actually maybe, telling somebody what you can see when maybe they can't. So something that I haven't approached yet, but as I say, things have kind of softened between us, and our relationship's a lot better at the moment. So it's, and that's kind of a sad fact really, that, I have to have time away from him for us to be able to get on, but I guess that is what it is. But there is a bit of a clash, like we have the same birthday, so I was born on his birthday, so so we're very similar in a lot of ways, not just the fact that I am his daughter and, there's a lot of generational trauma coming down the line, but I hope that one day we can get to a point where that lays with me really, and my feeling, what's the word? Brave enough, comfortable enough to bring up all that stuff, I suppose, with him. But no, thank you for highlighting it, because it is kind of like one of those things where you've got to do it, but you wouldn't want to leave it too long, would you? But there's other factors at the moment. So my ever since I was little, my mum and dad's relationship has kind of like been teetering on the edge of collapse, and it's always been like, oh, will they make it another year? Like forever. I mean, since I was born, and they're still together because they're so, their relationship is so up and down, and they've got, a real sort of trauma bond there really. And so, I kind of got used to the fact that that's the way it is. But the most recent development is that, they've put their house up for sale again, and they're talking about going their separate ways. So, maybe now is not the best time, but, if that does happen, and I'm not holding my breath because they have threatened to separate so many times, if that does happen, then, it might be the case that my dad does need a bit more support when it comes to his mental health, because I don't know how that would really go down. They're not getting any younger, but I keep saying to my mum, you're both entering sort of retirement age now. You're going to be working less. Your health's going to be declining. Really, you need to make this decision now. But you can't force someone to make a decision. You can only look on, can't you? So it's quite frustrating, but they'll do what they will do, and I'll just have to be there and do the best that I can to try and support them, whatever they decide.
Yeah, that's mad. I'm sorry to hear that anyway, but I feel like you probably not like in shock, because like you said, it's been on the edge for years.
Yeah, no, as I say, like I think they told me a couple of months ago, sat me down like they always do, right? Okay, love, like, I hope you're going to be all right with this, but okay, we're making a decision to go. I'm like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. So, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I think I wanted to ask that as well, because I think I mentioned last time we did the podcast, and I think I've sent you stuff even since then, when I sent you that Loyal Kana little clip where it was like a live one, and he does it all the time, and the way he speaks in that video, you might not remember it. Like,
I do remember.
And it literally, what he speaks about reminds me so much of like everything that you do and what like your that kind of like values and stuff like that. And the one thing that he did say was obviously his upbringing was really bad, and he didn't necessarily blame. So he used to blame his dad and walk around with like a chip on his shoulder and stuff like that. And he said, but then when he had his own child, he kind of like realised that his dad, he didn't necessarily have the tools growing up and the education and stuff. So he said he had two choices. He could have carried on the cycle, or he could have like broke it. I think he said that he looked at his own son, who was like a baby, and his own son was smiling back at him, and he was like, I'm gonna get all that love and I'm gonna send it back upwards rather than downwards. And it gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. But I remember saying last time, obviously I've not spoken to my dad in like over 2 years, and like you said, I'm very much in that place where it's like I've said like I forgive him, similar to like what I'd have said previously, like in the terms of it's not his fault, and it kind of is the way he is because of how he was brought up, and then he's not kind of, I don't want to sound patronising, but he's not like educated enough in the mental health space and all that kind of stuff to, make the decision to go therapy, like what me and Ryan have both done. I'll just self-reflect and be like, I have done a lot of bad stuff, or I have made a lot of bad decisions, and how can I improve that? And, but I've always said, like, I'll always forgive, but I don't want that negativity like in my life, back in my life, kind of. So it'd be very much a conversation, because this my dad reached out to my older brother like a few weeks ago, and basically just sent a message saying like, we miss you, blah blah blah. And then like my brother sent back like the best message in terms of pretty much what I said then, but like in so much detail, and like you said then, Robyn, about not being able to sit down with your dad for many reasons. But like you said, one of the reasons is like he's going through a shit time himself, and you want to spring that on him when he's going through all that shit. And as well, it's mad uncomfortable to be able to do it, because I know when I did have my dad in my life, like we wanted to speak to him so many times about so much shit, like about his drinking or about his fucking aggressiveness and all this kind of stuff. But it's such a hard thing to do in terms of like, one, they're going to get on the defence straight away. Two, there's not a nice way to kind of do it. The conversation's not going to end well. They're not going to end and be like, yeah, you know what? I was a cunt and I did all this and that. So we always found, me and my brothers, that we'd always like tiptoe around a conversation and give a shit sandwich. And then the end delivery of that conversation wouldn't be as impactful as you'd want it to be, because you've kind of tiptoed around it. Whereas when he made contact with my brother the other day, my brother's reply was just like fucking so direct and no holding back. And my brother said like, if this message has somewhat offended you, then don't reply. And then he just didn't fucking reply. So it's just mad. But like you said, it's it's one of them. It's definitely a generational thing as well. And it's that whole, I feel like this generation's a lot better at kind of looking at themselves in the mirror and being like, yeah, you know what, I could have done better there, or that weren't my best work and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think we're almost, forced into doing that really at this point, aren't we? If we want to change, because you can't change unless you do look, nothing will change unless you have that awareness and you look at yourself. A lot of people, I think that things will change, you know, they hang that blame on other people and thinking, oh, if that changes, then this will be better, or this or that, rather than, like you say, looking at yourself. But yeah, it's, I think that's what you mentioned there, though, is really, that's difficult, like you say, that there was no response, but that's a really powerful way of being able to communicate, is actually just writing a letter, writing an email or whatever, just to actually get all your thoughts down.
Definitely.
Actually take time to think about what it is you want to get across, rather than perhaps being in that situation where things might escalate, or like you say, you end up not really saying what you want to say. That's a really good way to do that. That's good tip.
Yeah. Did you, I think you tapped me before, did you have a question before going to anything else?
I did, but I think I forgot. Can't have been that good. You carry on, mate.
No, we do a little code where we'll tap each other under the desk when we have a point. But I think me and you was in conversation for quite a while, and then
sorry, I forgot.
No, it's right. He just forgot what he's going on about. I was going to ask something actually. It's again, this is like probably the worst part of my podcasting skill, is that I'm so shit at stringing stuff together, and everything that I say is always like random, like never in relation to anything else. Because I'll jot notes down as I'm talking, and I'll always go back to them. But so it's dead random, like random as fuck. But I noticed when we did a couple collab posts that there was someone that liked a couple of the posts, and it's the at Studio Works and also at the Bear Project, and I seen that they did your photography. I just thought I just thought the page was dead interesting, because obviously they do a lot of like nude photography and stuff like that, but in like dead like random places, like on beaches and stuff.
Do that. Have you got a hidden OnlyFans page on it?
I did see your advert for your guest the other day, who is, but no, that's really cool, but no, I haven't. But yeah, that's my friend Andrew. I'm sure he won't mind me saying I work with Andrew, and he lives just around the corner from me, and he's really passionate about photography, so he's helped me out a couple of times with a couple of shoots, and now he's trying to, as you can see on his page with his Bear project, just trying to, I guess, normalise more of that kind of what should we say just normal women's bodies, really, and just in that lovely natural way that he's doing it. So go Andrew, I'm all for it. I think it's awesome when you do it. So thanks for mentioning that. I'll let him know.
No, I just thought it was really cool, and obviously I seen that he did your photography, so I thought you must obviously know him. So I was just curious. But,
I do,
yeah. I was also mentioning to Ryan as well before the pod, I do need to get in touch with you in regards to the logo, if you've obviously already done it, because I did say that I'd do it. I don't know. I did message you, and I do have some good ideas. I just need to, with me, I need poking sometimes. I just need being like hurry up, fucking sort this out. Because
I didn't want to badger you, but
no. But I do have some good ideas. But I know I did message you when I was in Scotland, and then I think you did message me back, but I totally forgot to open the reply. But
don't worry. Yeah, there's still a bit of, I don't know, but I'm in an erring about my actual, the cycle breaker, whether that's really people are kind of understanding what that is. So maybe a little bit more thought around that, I guess, because it could be, we talk about generational cycles, but also just like cycles of behaviour that people get stuck in. So I guess it could cover both really, but yeah, something to think about anyway. But
so
I'd definitely love to.
Is that what the brand name would be then?
I don't know. I think that's my Instagram. That's my
the Cycle Breakers coach.
Either that or like the Generation Juggernauts.
Love it.
Sounds like a basketball team or something.
It does, doesn't
I
it?
guess that's the beauty of doing your own thing. You get to decide, don't you? But then it's also, I'm quite indecisive. So, but yeah, I'm sure we'll get there with something in the end. That'll be really cool.
I will get some stuff together, because my process that I usually take, I will kind of just like find a load of like really nice kind of logos and, you know, like visual identities and stuff like that, and then I'll kind of essentially make like a big mood board, and then you can kind of be like, oh, I really like this bit, or I really like this bit, and then it's just gone for the win. Does this on every single podcast. We've got a bladder of a 3-year-old, but yeah, no, that's what I'll do. I'll get some stuff together and I'll send it across, because it would be nice one to work on, because like you said, I kind of envisioned it how it'd look anyway, but I'll have to get some stuff across anyway and send it over.
Sure. Yeah, I love all that stuff, all like, you know, the aesthetics and that. I get really excited about it. So yeah, I'd love to see what you come up with.
Yeah, well, you've got a website currently, haven't you? Did you do your website or?
I have, and yeah, I've fiddled around with it. I've taken it down at the moment, actually. It just says under construction, just because I don't know, because I've kind of went in so many different directions with what I was doing, and I'm still kind of, with being the summer holidays, things have kind of slowed down a little bit. So I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do when I do kick that back off again. So much to put in place, you know, and it's just little old me in between my part-time job and mothering and everything. So yeah, it's always a work in progress. Yeah.
No, but definitely be well good to get it all started back up. Definitely, like you said, 6-week holidays as well is intense.
It is.
Have the kids come back to school yet? Or?
They have. They went back this week. So yeah, so that's cool. I managed to get to the gym a couple of times this week, and as I say, went to the spa today. So yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's been nice to have a bit of time back again.
It is better than Christmas, isn't it? You know, when like you drop them off on that first day, and then you get home and you shut the door behind you. You just want to go fucking ape shit, don't you? Cocaine, heroin, meth, everything under the sun, and just run around for 12 hours delirious with like joy.
Yeah. But as cycle breakers, we also have that feeling of guilt that we feel so happy that our children aren't with us for throwing them out, you know, for 6 hours during the day.
Yeah, it's well awkward. Like, I think I've been in the playground a few times and been doing the school run, and I've said to like another parent, I've looked at them and been like, oh, fucking gutted about the 6-week holidays approaching or something like that. And then my parents looked at me and been like, I really like the 6-week holidays. I like spending time with my child. And I've been like, yeah, so do I.
That person right there is a liar. Absolute bullshit.
He was like, I like spending time with my kids, and I was like, yeah, so do I, but not that much time. That's a lot.
Absolute bullshit.
Yeah, timing. Yeah, shaming you as well as, well, yeah.
I know, I bet you felt like, yeah, I was only joking.
No, I did have to be like, yeah, obviously, I love fucking the kids being here all the time and stuff like that. I suppose it's probably a bit of an age thing as well, because have you got 4 kids? Sorry, Robyn.
Yeah, 4.
So is it quite a distinctive age gap between eldest and youngest?
Yeah, 10 years. 10 years between the oldest and youngest.
Wow, that's mad. I always think like now, because we're like quite far out the woods. Well, not out the woods, like my youngest is 2, out the woods. But I always think like I feel like when they hit like 3-4, that's like a solid age where like you know they're not as much little fucking shits and stuff, and like, they're actually pretty sound.
Pretty sound.
And then I just think like the thought of having another one though, and then doing it again, like the early mornings, the late nights, and the constant crying and all that shit, nursery fees, fucking pulling your pants down and stuff like that. I don't know. I just think to have 4 though, you must have just been like, yeah, fuck this. Like, this is easy.
I think, it's been a roller coaster and a half. I'm not going to lie, but now I think knowing that, George is my youngest, he's 2, that he's my last. I think it's kind of makes it like I'm trying to enjoy him at this stage, and knowing that. Yeah, it's a tough one because I definitely don't want any more, but I also feel sad that I'm not going to have, because he's still so cute at that age. But and just always, I guess, I think we've talked about this a bit before, but every time a new one comes along, just so much more learning goes on. So that the difference between how I treated my oldest and my youngest is like there's a huge. A huge difference there, which I sometimes talk to Ivy about and say to her, look, you see the way that I am with George, and and I kind of explain to her the reasoning behind it and just say, like, I'm sorry, that I didn't have to do that for you, I think that's kind of where the only way that you can kind of pull that situation back really is just by being open with him. Just I didn't know what I know now. I didn't know any of that when you were little. So, she's an amazing kid anyway. So
that's brilliant. So that's the conversation that you want your dad to have with you, him to come over to you and be like, I'm sorry that I didn't know what I know now.
He has. Yeah, there has been kind of acknowledgements along the way, but I don't know what really. I'd just like to see him like in a better state himself, really, because I know that he suffers with his mental health. He has bouts of depression and panic. He has panic attacks, and so at this kind of age, this stage of life, you'd like to think that you could start winding down, not have to worry about that kind of stress. But and I suppose with his surroundings now, things aren't as stressful, but there are still triggers there for him. And when I see the way that they, affect him still, I just feel sorry for him, really.
Yeah, well, if it's anything to go by, I think Ryan's a lot more chill now that he's divorced. So put your feet up and fucking watch Sky Sports every weekend.
So chill. Like Bob Marley's fucking uncle, mate. But I wanted to quickly touch on what you said there, having those conversations with your eldest, like what you're showing her there is accountability.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? That is such a good trait to instill in your kids, to just be like, because obviously your kids are going to think you can do no wrong, or you might think I can't do no wrong, I'm the adult and all that stuff. Like what happened like last weekend or something like that, I think my daughter was like fanning about getting in the car, and I sort of raised my voice a bit. I wouldn't call it a snap, but it was like she knew that I'm not fucking about now. And she started crying and things like that, and I was like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. That was unnecessary. So I span around in the car seat and looked her in the eye, stuff like that, and I said, I'm sorry. I said, that's daddy's fault. I said, I'm really, really sorry. I shouldn't have done that. It was my fault. You know what I mean? Yeah. It is. I know she's free and all that stuff, but it's like, show them accountability is never ever a bad thing, because when they make a mistake, inevitably throughout their lives, their generational trauma and all that, there's generational good shit as well that you can instill into them, and accountability and openness towards the person that you love, the person that you look up to, i.e. like a mother and father and daughter and all that stuff. There can be good things that you can pass down as well, and I think accountability and openness, honesty is right up there. Like, you can't really go much wrong if they're qualities that they have going into being an adult.
Definitely. Yeah, that's the piece that you need there. Like you say, just having that moment of acknowledging what you've done and just communicating that with them. And, just, it's like, Mummy, I'm trying every day. I'm trying to get better at this and to learn from my mistakes. And as you say, the hope is that sets an example for them throughout life, and that they'll just be that they'll find it that little bit easier than you did as they grow up and as they have kids. So yeah, but I think really what I've sort of come to realise is that when it comes to discipline, like, you have to have discipline, of course, but for people like us who like trying to break cycles, I think we often kind of fear it because we associate it with maybe emotional abuse, physical abuse, or whatever from when we were growing up. We sometimes find ourselves going the complete opposite way. As adults, we just, as parents, where you kind of just let them, have what they want. Just they can kind of get away with anything because you don't want to repeat the mistakes of your parents. So, but it is still, I feel, that can also be dysfunctional in some ways and cause harm. Of course, not as much as the opposite end of the scale, but there has to be a middle ground somewhere. And so when we do put, rules in place and we're using discipline, it's just so important that we're not associating, not necessarily anger, because everybody gets anger, but it's being in control of what you say when you're angry. Because when you start, making it about them or saying things that are like criticising the child because of what they've done, then they'll have that association of, okay, being told what to do means it's something they associated with that. With that being criticised. That's kind of when you end up growing up and you can't take orders from anyone because you find it really hard. You find it like you're a bit affronted when you're at work and someone asks you to do something, because it's kind of, that's a trigger for when you were a kid, and perhaps your parents always, every time they asked you to do something or use discipline, they got angry and they shouted at you and said things that weren't very nice and made you, and created that emotion in you that you still then feel later on in life.
I'm very much like that, even now. Like if someone tells me to do something or asks me to do something, I naturally get back up. And I think, like, I don't fucking need you to tell me to do that. Like I said, it's definitely something from a childhood, that being constantly, like, bossed around, but, like, in a negative kind of way. So, like, I feel like when people tell me to do something now, or even if, I don't know, someone asks me to do something and stuff like that, I kind of get a bit negative.
Yeah,
like, initial reaction.
Yeah, I think I've gone the other way where, been more of kind of, yes, I'll just still kind of, do as I told, just keep them happy. I don't want to expose myself to any potential criticism or anger here, So, but yeah, it can go, I guess it can go either way there. So, yeah, interesting though.
They do say, don't they, that, I might have this wrong, but you get either, is it a people pleaser or what's the other one?
Narcissist.
No, narcissist.
Is it?
No.
Yeah, well, there's probably something to be said for that. I think,
it's like you're a people pleaser or something else. I can't remember what it is. I can't remember. But
is that why you just don't give a fuck about anybody?
I can't remember the right word.
You don't want to please
It's
anyone.
I can't remember. My mind's blank. But yeah, like.
Like an empath or something.
Empath, I think, yeah, where you feel everything.
Yeah.
Good
job I'm here, and it fucking hell.
It took you fucking long.
Fucking wizard, mate.
But they say that you either are a people pleaser or an empath, and like, I can't remember where I heard that, but I've heard it quite a lot, and it's like, and I think that's from like when you have a childhood where your parents are pretty shit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you'll either go like over the top to please people, or I think it's an empath where you're just like super aware of everyone else around you and you're constantly like thinking how they're feeling and shit.
But you can have I think you can have a proper mixture of both, mate. If you have like a bad upbringing, you can be so in tune to everything around you because you're in fight or flight mode in your childhood. You're protecting yourself, so you're listening out for like aggression or conflict, and you're like avoid. So I think those two are somewhat intertwined. I think anyway. Just an opinion.
No, it is. I'm super like that as well, though. Like, when you'll pick up on someone's energy, and if like they're slightly a bit off, you'll be sitting there and you'll be thinking like, and I'll be like hyper analysing and thinking like, I can tell this person's like not okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm obviously not going to say what it is, but me and Ryan went after a pod we did the other week, we sat down and was having a drink, and after like about 10-15 minutes, I think I went in and got us another beer, come out, and Ryan was like, I need to tell you something, and then he told me something, and I literally, the whole time I sat there with him for like 15 minutes before that, I knew something was up with him. I could like sense something was wrong. And then when he told me, it was like so weird. Like I could tell. Like, and he weren't being a dickhead or anything or being blunt or anything. I could just tell that his mind was somewhere else a little bit when I was talking to him. And then as soon as he told me that, I was like, well, that fucking explains why. Do you know what I mean? As well as we're pretty in sync as well, to be fair.
Dirty pop.
Yeah. It's like having a sixth sense, isn't it? And a lot of the time you think it's something you've done wrong or it's
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you could never do anything wrong to me, mate, ever. But I wanted to touch on something quickly, what you said before, Robyn, about the middle ground, because I can't remember where I've heard this or whatever, and it says, if you want your child to hate you, give them everything they want. Because the second you say no, they're going to fucking hate you.
So what's that?
If you want your child to hate you, give them everything they want. Because the second they want something and you go no, bang, they fucking hate you. You have to have a middle ground so that they used to be being told no for certain things, used to being yes.
Absolutely.
Yes to those things. Like my daughter, for example, I never ever want to say no. So like, my ex-wife says to me all the time, fucking can't say no to her. And then I'm like, no, because she looks at me with a little curly hair and she's like, Daddy. I really do struggle to say no.
It's harder as well though when they're 3 years old. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I think that probably applies a bit more the older they get, and it's kind of like when I don't know, they're being a bit more. You'll know more than us, Robyn, because like you said, you've got like a bigger age gap between the kids. Me and Ryan have only got little bit babies and not toddlers. Like what would you call 6 and 7 year olds? And they're just mini humans.
Fucking Jimmy Neutrons.
Yeah, it's my friend and I were literally just talking about this today. It's funny, because you kind of, and I know what you're saying, it is easier when they're so little and you just want to give them what they want, but that is teaching them that if they keep asking you, that you will give in, and then they kind of learn that behaviour, and then it's really, really hard to come back from that. And you have to be, and if it's something you want to do, you've got to be completely consistent with that. And know what your answer is going to be straight away and stick with it. And so it's good to have a moment to actually think about, okay, what is my answer here? Because, can I say yes? Because if I'm going to say no, it's got to be 100% I know. I can't go back on that.
Yeah.
Because, I've embarrassing examples of myself. My mum was like, anything for a quiet life. And she... I remember even, I think, into my teenage years, she would take me shopping and I would end up crying because she wouldn't buy me what I wanted. And then she would
you brat. You absolute brat.
She would buy me what I wanted. And it's just a really, really bad expectation for life, because you can't have everything that you want, but so the really important part is being able to say no and stick with it without getting angry. And that's the hard part. We all get angry, but without that anger being then directed at blaming them for the answer you've given because of the way, that you're then reacting or, criticising them in any way. And that's it's just difficult, but, it's an important one.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's always harder as well when there's two parents and, like you said, you've had different backgrounds and stuff like that, because I feel like, not in all cases, but in most cases, you'll have a good cop and a bad cop. And I think like kids are fucking smart as well. Like they figure that shit out.
Oh, yeah.
Early doors.
Do you know
what I mean? Like our kids know to go to mummy if they want a fucking ice cream and shit like that. Whereas they know to come to me if they want me to play on a computer game or something with them.
That's it. But I hear people say, "Oh, the kids so like they're manipulating, or they're manipulative," and I think, well, you set that up, you know.
They're just clever.
You set up that situation, you know. So, and you know, I'm guilty of it as well. I'm not standing here saying I'm, you know, perfect parent, but you can't blame the kid for what you've just taught them, basically. Yeah.
Absolutely. You had some like quote shit that you wanted to chat about, didn't you?
I didn't have any quote. Well, yeah, I've got some quote stuff because
not quote shit, quote stuff.
Quote stuff because since we last spoke, Robyn, you know, like I said that I finished The Power of Now. Well, I've read it again.
Oh, cool! Did you get more out of it the second time?
Yeah, because I think anyone who's like an avid book reader or listener, in my case, you'll read it once and then you'll listen to it and then you'll read it twice and you'll start to understand it. So with that one especially, because it was such an information overload, I was like, fuck this, I need to read it again and really listen to it and like really understand it and stuff like that. So I wrote down a couple of things that you'll be like, oh God, I bet you start reading it now because you're starting your runs and shit like that. Imagine having that on while you're running. Fuck me, you'll run to fucking Mars. But and also it could pertain to the like the sort of like lack of ability of your dad to sort of like, I don't know, change. Like this little one-liner here, man, it fucking hit me like a ton of bricks. So it says, the light can be too painful for someone who just wants to remain in darkness. And I was like, fucking hell. Like you literally try and like improve someone's like understanding of something and they just burrow back away into their cave because it's like it's painful when you want to give them knowledge or like say to them you've done wrong and they just back away from it. It's so good.
That reminded me of the Will Smith film. What's it called? Where he's got
Robot.
No, the one with the zombies and where he's got the dog. I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Things that can't come out in the dark. When they do, they start fucking burning and shit like that.
The light can be painful. I just want to remain in darkness.
But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, wait to ruin a fucking great line from a great book. That reminds me of a Will Smith film, that. Fucking Hitch. Fucking go now.
Fucking iRobot, though.
I know.
Yeah, and it's so true, though. It's just, and that is what goodness knows how many. I wouldn't even like to guess a percentage of people. That's what they're doing. They're suppressing all of that. Because it's too much for them to, or it feels like, too painful to think about any of it, acknowledge it. So rather just live on that surface level of, whatever that is, the shit that they're dealing with, than try and do anything about or face the issues that are there. Yeah,
the second one was... Realise deeply that the present moment is all that you will ever have.
Say that again, sorry.
Realise deeply that the present moment is all you will ever have.
Powerful shit.
Take a moment.
That reminds me of another Will Smith film. Now when he's talking about it.
Reminds me of Bad Boys 2. I shot you in the ass. It's all right. You got the meat in nowhere near the hole.
That's powerful, that night. Like it.
And the third and final one is watch The Thinker. The moment you start watching The Thinker, a higher level of consciousness can be activated. Oh God, I love that book so much. I'm going to preach it to fucking every...
What's that book called?
Like you're going to read it, President's Schedule over here.
I've just wanted you to, shout out.
Tell you what, do Robyn's logo, I'll tell you the name of the book.
I will do Robyn's logo, it's on the list. No. Just writing it down on the list now. No, it is on the list, of course it is.
What do you mean, sort life out? Get Liz back.
I wanted to ask, actually, before we wrap up, Is there any new stuff that you are working on? Because I know obviously you had the root cause therapy stuff, and I know that was something new that you was trialling out. Is there any new forms of like therapy that you've been working on?
Yes. So, as I say, I'm always kind of, doing something around learning, personal growth. So, I've not long finished my root cause therapy certification and just signed up for another course now, which I'm doing around suicide and self-harm awareness and prevention. So you might know I did a bit of volunteering for Samaritans a few years ago, which was, very eye-opening and just, humbling and life-changing in a lot of ways. And that was great. Like, I got a load of real-world experience doing that. And I did go through, quite a rigorous training to be able to answer the phones, and hold that space for people. So that was in lockdown, so 4 years ago now. Gosh, wow. Yeah. And I did it for a couple of years until I was pregnant with George, and then I moved again. But I just really wanted to kind of take this opportunity to freshen up on that and just empower myself with all that kind of knowledge again, because I think it's so, so important. Obviously, it's in the forefront, isn't it? When it comes to men's mental health, it's such a huge topic, and being able to understand that and help with that is really important to me. So it's great. I'm really enjoying it so far.
Well, if you need any more guinea pigs for any of the courses, you know where we are.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's something that I think I might have mentioned it actually to you, Ryan, when we were going through RCT, but the grief, I mean, you've obviously experienced it, to the nth degree, but it's something that I've never really, I've never lost anybody really close to me. So it's like, it scares the crap out of me, grief, but there are, the men in my life that have had and have got, various issues around mental health. And so, I am very aware of that and try to, try to do what I can to be, to kind of be able to support around that area of suicide and self-harm. I've got, a brother who's in the infantry, so he served in Afghanistan, so he's actually experienced, situations that we classically associate with trauma. I've got a brother who has ADHD, and he still lives at home with my parents. And as you know, when my dad always kind of explained some of the issues with him. And there's a whole load of generational trauma coming down on my mum's side as well from the men in the family history there. And my partner is a recovering compulsive gambler. So, this is why, one of the reasons why I went into this space around men's mental health, because it was always so apparent to me, that there's issues there, and that kind of suffering in silence just seems so unfair to me, that there's that stigma there that men, perhaps don't feel able to reach out and ask for help because, they've got to be strong and all the rest of it. And one of the reasons, again, why I'm doing what I'm doing.
That's so good. Like, not obviously about all the other shit that you said, like the fact that all that stuff's going on, like you said, and you've kind of, shone that light on them kind of things, and you've wanted to kind of, develop them things because, I just find it really good that you've done that. It must be difficult having things like that in the family, like you said.
It is. And what I've come to know is that it's actually, there's research now that shows that actually asking someone that direct question, are you having suicidal thoughts, is helpful. I think people worry that they're going to plant an idea in someone's head, but that's not the case. You either have a tendency or you don't. It's very unlikely that someone hasn't already thought about that and you're going to give them the idea. So, and for people that are having those thoughts, that question could be their chance to open up to them.
Because I suppose getting asked that, because it's not something you'd normally get asked every day. So when you said it just then, I was thinking getting asked that, I could imagine it feeling quite sobering and being shit. And then, you said, and then that'd feel like it's my opportunity to possibly open up and be I have, or I have been really struggling. Because you said, there's so much shit out there where it's are you okay? Or, ask someone if they're okay, blah, blah, blah. But that's just fucking life, isn't it? When you ask someone if they're okay.
Yeah, it's service level bollocks.
But if you ask someone a fucking question like that, you're having suicidal thoughts, fucking arsehole's going to fucking drop out, and if they are anyway, do you know what I mean? Or they might do the sort of opposite and be no, and get defensive.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Of course not. But then you've asked the question, haven't you? At least you've taken that time.
But then they might feel comfortable coming back to you because you've gone to that place with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so it's it does sound like a really loaded, hard question to ask, but it's are you having suicidal thoughts? Do you want to talk about it? There's not putting that kind of pressure on, or just how can I support you? If you feel that maybe that the answer is yes, because I think just knowing that they can share that with somebody and that somebody's there if they need support is going to could make a huge difference for somebody.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask quickly as well, just before we finish up. You mentioned about, if you don't mind me asking, you mentioned about your partner having past gambling addictions and stuff. Is he kind of in the clear with that now? Is he over it?
Yeah. So I say compulsive gambler because it's something that you just have to kind of learn to live with, and it's always there. We talk about addiction. So he's doing amazingly, and he's had a certain amount of support as well with that. And it's taught me so much, of kind of how to approach that and not guilting in that situation, because I think it's so easy to, especially with gambling, it's the addiction that I think has the least empathy. People, I feel there's perhaps other addictions where people can that's awful, but with gambling, I feel like that's maybe less so. And it's very easy to just look at it again at face value and say, oh, why are you doing that? Just stop it, That's obviously not the way.
No, of course.
And by shaming somebody, you're actually making the problem worse. You're compounding it. So I'm just really grateful, really, that he's managed to find it within himself to get to the point he's at now. But again, it's keeping an eye on him and the issue, because you never know. It can be, situations in life that can kind of trigger these things to reoccur, as you say, things are good, but it's just always being aware that, things can change, and so we do what we can, and just, navigate it as best as we can,
No, definitely, and I just wanted to say, the only reason why I mentioned it is because when you did briefly mention it, it reminded me. I watched a Netflix documentary probably quite a long time ago now, maybe 6 months ago. But I will send it you, and obviously you don't have to watch it. And if you do, you might be better watching it on your own. I don't know, but it's fucking mad. How disgusting the gambling industry is in terms of So I'll send it to you. It's an ex-footballer. I think it's called Paul Merson. And
oh yeah, I might have seen it actually.
Where he gets addicted to gambling, and
it was a TV program.
He bets his house and shit. Like
him and his wife had like a mortgage saved up, and he put it all on, like bet it all away and lost it all. So like now she manages his bank accounts, but like what he was telling, some of the stories he was saying where these betting companies online, they'll categorize you into categories. So they'll be like, you know, like I put on a bet every now and then, but I'll do like a £5 bet once a week or something on the football, and I do it more casually for fun. But then, so they probably wouldn't target me with ads, but then like there's someone who might put a 50 quid bet on and then lose it, and then they'll feel like they have to win that money back, and then they'll put £100 on, so they'll categorise them into like a win back situation where they know that they're going to try and do it, so they'll target them and be like, here's £10 free bet, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, shit. Do you know? And it knocks me sick. And even the fact that football shirts still have like sponsors on the shirts and stuff, like, yeah, I just think it's disgusting the amount of men that fucking do it and end up like getting into debt, commit suicide and all that kind of shit. It's mad.
I know. It makes me livid, yeah, honestly. I feel exactly the same, but it is hard because obviously there are people that can gamble sensibly and just do it for, you know, but at what cost? So while those people are just having a bit of a fun bet, there's so many other people suffering the way that they are. So I think, you know, if it was up to me, I'd make it illegal. But,
yeah, 100%. But like you said, there's like that with everyone out there. Like some people can have a drink and then go home and have a cup of tea. Yeah. It's like some people, like Ryan, can go upstairs and do a line of coke and come back down and just act normal.
I'm not 18.
No, but that's what I mean. Like everyone has their own demons and their own struggles and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm happy anyway that, like you said, it's on top of, and it's mega that you're doing all this course and educating shit rather than, like you said, shaming and stuff like
that. Yeah, thank you. I'll try my best. Yeah, obviously it's not always easy.
Yeah, that's all you can do, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
just trying your best. Like that's it. You hold your head high.
100%. Well. I was going to say, just to conclude the episode anyway, because we're at that hour mark, we just wanted to ask if you knew what a Kentucky chicken shower was.
Shut up.
Never again.
Yeah, no, I haven't forgotten.
I don't think you ever will. I think that might be like embedded, like somewhere like in the back of her mind, just like scratching at her every now and again.
Every time she drives past a KFC, she's like, oh no.
Oh, now I'm definitely going to react that way when I see a KFC.
No, we don't have any disgusting add-ons in this week's episode, do we?
Oh, no, unfortunately not. We're running low on troubled tales.
We've not pushed it as much recently, but
it's true.
But yeah, so we will let you get back to your Friday evening anyway and have an incredible weekend, and it's been really good to see you again. Really enjoyed chatting.
Thank you so much for having me on again, guys. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, we'll catch up soon.
Yeah. All right then, Robyn, thank you very much.
Thanks, Robyn. Amazing.
Okay,
see you later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.